Welcome to Home Biz Tax Talk. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady and principal owner of Everett Tax Solutions, where we help you win the tax game. Home Biz Tax Talk airs Monday through Friday. And when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about topics that are important to the small business community. And a question I've been getting a lot lately is, how does one find a good tax preparer or a good tax professional? And it really is a valid question, especially since there is so much fraud going on right now, especially with all of this pandemic aid going out. There are scams that are running everywhere. So, people are really wondering, like, how can they protect themselves from a scammer as much as possible? And so let me say this, that if somebody really puts some work into it, you can do all of the homework possible and still get scammed. But there are some things that are just easy red flags that should cause you to think twice about who you select. So I'm going to share some of those things, but like I said, there are terrible CPAs, there are terrible EAs, there are terrible attorneys, there are shady people in every profession. So that's not to say that even licensure would say, okay, this should be a reputable person, because there are attorneys and licensed people, so CPAs, EAs, that are getting hemmed up all the time for doing, criminal stuff. So yeah, just know that you can do all the homework in the world and you can still get taken advantage of. But there are some things that, like I said, are immediate red flags that you should go, I'll go somewhere else. Okay. So the first thing is, how long are they open? Are they open year round? Someone who is a really good tax professional and this is what they do, they're going to be open January through December. Okay. During tax season, of course, that is the height of when everybody is open. But if they're not open May through December, even by appointment or 2 or 3 days a week, then you might want to go somewhere else. And the reason is that, you've got these light switch tax people who do this as a side hustle. And the only thing that they want to do is make some tax season money and disappear. Well, that's really not going to be someone who can help you in the off season. If you get a letter from the IRS, or if something arises during the year, that's not going to be someone that can help you. Okay. So first of all, look at what their availability is year round. Second thing is, how are their fees based? Okay. Now, you have tax professionals who charge based on, they have a flat fee. There are tax professionals who charge per form. And it depends on the complexity of your tax return. Okay. Now, if somebody's fees are based on the amount of your refund, meaning that they charge you a percentage of the refund that you get, that is a problem, because that incentivizes that tax person to make sure that you get a refund so that they can get paid, right? Because if your refund turns out to be $100 and they're charging 10% of that refund, that's a whole $10. That's not even going to work, right? That doesn't even make sense. So having someone who bases their fees based on the amount of a refund that they get for you, that is a red flag, because then they're incentivized to do some shady stuff to get you this huge amount of money back, even though you may not be entitled. Um, second thing, number three is software, right? And this is where I want my tax professionals to really listen to this and pump their brakes too. All right. I think it's an absolutely valid question for a consumer to ask what type of software that you use. Tax professionals who do this job use professional software, tax professional software. All right. People who are doing side hustles are using TurboTax to prepare these returns for a fee, and that's not okay. That's against the rules, right? If you are preparing taxes for a fee, you should have professional software, because with that home-based stuff, you can prepare, I think, up to 5 returns, and then you can't e-file any more of those returns. They have to be mailed after that. So if somebody telling you got to mail your current year return, again, it's That's just a no. How about that? Especially now with COVID, mailing anything to the IRS is just an absolutely no. All right. So yeah, it's okay I think it's okay. And it's a really good question to ask tax professionals about their software. Number one, it's going to catch them off guard, but you need to know if they're using TurboTax or if they're using tax professional software to e-file your returns. All right. The next thing is, are they signing your returns? So here's what I mean. When you get your return and you look at the bottom, does it say self-prepared, or is that tax professional's name on that tax return? If it says self-prepared, but you're paying someone to prepare your taxes, again, that's a no-go at this station. Tax professionals who prepare taxes for a fee have a preparer tax ID number, and they are required to be on that tax return. When you pay someone to prepare your taxes and their name is not on it, then whatever happens with that tax return after it's sent off is all on you. So you not knowing what they have done with that return and they're not putting their name on it, no. So if you get that tax return and it says self-prepared, that's something that you should be telling them, okay, no, you need to give me my money back, or you need to report them to the IRS, because that, again, is just a no. Are they providing you with all of your tax return? And when I say all of your tax return, I mean all of the worksheets and all of that, so that you understand what is in your tax return. Let me give you an example. One year I had a client come to me and she just had the 1040. Okay, that the 1040 is the form that shows you, this is how much income you made, these are the tax credits you got, and here's your tax bill or your tax refund. That's just a 1040. But the details are in the schedules and the worksheets. And so I was asking her, hey, where is your Schedule A that shows all of these itemized deductions? And she looked at me like, what Schedule A? And I showed her like, hey, it says here that you had about $35,000 in itemized deductions. And I'm just trying to see what you had last year because I don't see it here this year. And it turns out that tax professional went to jail. Okay. And so she did not have the documents to know what in the world was in that return. So you have the right as a consumer to have your entire return. That is the 1040, all the worksheets down to the stuff that you have no idea exactly what it says. You're entitled to all of those worksheets. Now, a lot of times, consumers don't want those worksheets, which is okay, right? But at the end of the day, if you ask your tax professional for your entire tax return, that's like 80 something pages long, you have the right to get those worksheets. Okay. You just do. But a lot of times we don't send them because the consumers are just like, okay, all of this paper is too much. Can you send me what I really need to know? Okay. And then you get a condensed version of your tax return. But at the end of the day, you are entitled to receive your entire tax return. And if you've got a federal and a state, and if you have a business and you own a home and all those things, your tax return should actually be like 30, 60 pages. Okay. So and let me also say this: tax time is not the time to find your tax professional. That's something that you do May through December, because May through December, you have time to meet with people. You have time to do your research, talk to different tax professionals to see who's going to be a good fit for you. Tax season is not the time. Tax season is too late. At that point, you're just trying to find somebody to do your taxes. And so that's when you are most susceptible to being scammed. Okay, so start putting in that homework. If you're not happy with where you are, start putting in that homework, May through December. So when it's time for you to file, you have a level of comfort and you know who you're dealing with. Okay, and then the last thing I will say is this: do not base what you believe is the expertise of a tax professional based on a refund. I hear so many people saying, okay, well, Joe got me 3,000, but Sally got me $4,500 back. That doesn't mean that Sally is doing the right thing. So don't just decide based on a refund that you're going to go elsewhere. No, just don't do that. Simply because, one person may have done something right and one person may have done something wrong. So it's not just the refund. It's looking at really what is the service. Are they able to explain to you why your results are the way that they are? Right? If, when my clients sit down with me, like, okay, I don't understand this number. Fantastic. I'm going to explain this number to you. Now, if somebody's not going to explain numbers to you, that's a reason to go elsewhere. Now, we don't have time during tax season to do full-blown consultations, and consumers tend to get upset with that. But tax season is not the time for tax consultations. Consultations happen outside of tax season. Okay, but during tax season, they should be able to explain your return to you and show you how this number that you gave them on a tax form ended up on your tax return. What does it do, if it did anything at all? So you as the consumer have to be smart about what's in your taxes to know if you are getting scammed. And that takes, going through, actually looking at your tax return, not just looking at the bottom line. Do I get a refund or do I owe? Sign it and go on. No, you actually need to know what is in that tax return, what makes up that tax return. That's how you know if you're ultimately getting scammed. You have to know what your taxes look like. And if something looks funky, that looks unusual, you need to start asking questions. And if those questions don't get answered, that's a reason for you to take your stuff and go somewhere else. Will you have to pay someone else? Yes, but it's going to be worth it for you to get direct answers and to have someone reputable to take care of your taxes versus you just, not wanting to pay and you just don't know what happened and hope for the best, because that's going to cost you more later on. But here's something I did not say. I did not say how many years someone has been in business. Do not okay, well, so-and-so has been doing taxes for 20 years. There are people out here that have been doing taxes for 20 years that have been scamming people left and right. I just read about a case this morning about a tax preparer in Las Vegas who's been doing taxes for years, but got hemmed up between 2012 and 2018 and stole about $3 million. So it's not how many years someone has been in business. That has nothing to do with it. So it doesn't matter if someone's been in business for 20 years, if somebody's been in business for 5 years. Ask those questions and then make your decision. But do that outside of tax season so you really have time to think about things and process things, and not just, okay, just here, take it, and you just do it. That's when you're going to wind up in trouble. Okay, so I really hope that helps you out with really finding someone. There is no easy answer. And like I said, you can even go through all of this and still get scammed, but that's when it's on you to know what your tax return is supposed to look like. Okay, so thank you guys so much for tuning into Home Biz Tax Talk. Again, we air Monday through Friday, and you come right here to get your questions answered about your home business taxes. All right, have a great day, and I will see you all next time. Bye.